The massive chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with quiet conversations. Representatives from 47 different species sat in their assigned seats, waiting for the emergency session to begin. The air carried a mixed scent of different worlds: sulfur from the volcanic Zelithans, sweet flower perfumes from the plant-like Verdians, and a clean metallic smell that always surrounded the robotic mechanoids. Kyle Martinez walked slowly toward the center podium. His black diplomatic uniform looked plain compared to the colorful robes and natural armor of the alien representatives around him. Behind him, Captain Lisa Grant and Dr. Emma Carter followed, their faces calm but serious. The human delegation had called for this emergency meeting 3 days ago. Most council members thought it would be about trade agreements or maybe asking for help with some Earth problem. Humans were still the newest members of the council. After all, they had only joined 300 years ago when the Arcturians first visited Earth. Ambassador Threx of the Dominion Worlds tapped his long claws against his chair. The elderly reptilian had seen dozens of species join the council over his lifetime. Humans were no different from the others, young, eager, but limited by their primitive technology. They could barely travel to their own moon when the council first contacted them. Kyle reached the podium and activated the holographic display system. The chamber's conversation slowly died down as representatives turned their attention to him. Some looked bored, others curious, but none seemed worried. Honored members of the Galactic Council, Kyle began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's advanced sound system. Earth requests recognition of our expansion into 17 star systems within 50 light years of our home world. A few representatives shifted in their seats. Expansion requests were common, but humans had never asked for anything like this before. We plan to establish colonies in these systems within the next standard year, Kyle continued. Each colony will house between 10 and 50,000 humans. We estimate the total colonial population will reach 300,000 people. Now the chamber was getting louder. The Zelithan representative, a tall insect-like creature named General Vrex, made a clicking sound that meant amusement in his species. Impossible, Vrex announced, his voice carrying the authority of someone used to being obeyed. Humans lack faster-than-light travel capabilities. Your species has been limited to your home system for 3 centuries. Kyle smiled, and something about that smile made a few of the more experienced council members pay closer attention. We did lack that capability, Kyle said. Past tense. The holographic display above the podium suddenly changed. Instead of showing star charts or colony plans, it displayed something that made every representative in the chamber stop talking at once. 47 spacecraft hung in the darkness of space. They were unlike anything the Council had ever seen. The ships were not organic like Zelithan bio-vessels, not geometric like mechanoid craft, and not flowing like Arcturian designs. They were angular, practical, and somehow looked fast even while sitting still. The Earth Colonial Fleet, Lisa Grant announced as she stepped forward. 47 ships, each capable of carrying 10,000 colonists and everything needed to build a complete settlement. Dr. Emma Carter activated another display showing technical specifications. Each ship is equipped with our new spatial fold drive system. Travel time to our furthest target system is 6 days. The chamber erupted. Representatives jumped to their feet, talking loudly in dozens of different languages. Some species have been trying to develop faster-than-light travel for thousands of years. Others had given up entirely, accepting that such technology was beyond their reach. Ambassador Zen of the Arcturian Federation raised one of his 4 arms for silence. The Arcturians were one of only 3 species in the Council that had mastered faster-than-light travel, and they had taken 2,000 years to do it. This is clearly some kind of mistake, Zen said, his translator making his musical voice sound flat and mechanical. Our scientists have studied human technology extensively. Your species is nowhere near achieving spatial manipulation. Kyle looked directly at the Arcturian ambassador. Your scientists studied our old technology. This is new. How new? Demanded Threx. We tested the first prototype 6 months ago, Emma replied calmly. The full fleet completed trials last week. The silence that followed was the kind that happens when everyone is thinking the same impossible thing. If humans could really travel faster than light, everything changed. The balance of power that had kept the galaxy peaceful for centuries was suddenly different. Council Secretary Vex, a floating jellyfish-like creature, consulted the legal records. Under Article 12 of the Galactic Charter, any member species must notify the Council before establishing permanent settlements beyond their home system. Are you requesting permission for this expansion? Kyle shook his head. We're providing notification as required. We're not asking for permission. This time the chamber didn't just erupt. It exploded into chaos. Representatives were shouting. Some were demanding immediate recesses. Others were calling for emergency votes. The idea that humans would simply announce their plans rather than asking for approval was unthinkable. Threx slammed his staff against the floor, the sound echoing through the chamber. Order. We will have order. The old Dominion leader looked directly at Kyle. Young species do not make demands of the Galactic Council. You will submit proper requests through established channels. Lisa Grant stepped up beside Kyle. With respect, Ambassador Threx, we're not making demands. We're following the law. Article 12 requires notification, not approval, for expansion into uninhabited systems. Uninhabited systems that are within the territorial boundaries of established council members, Rex pointed out. None of the systems we selected are claimed territory, Emma said. We've checked the records carefully. Every system on our list is listed as unclaimed in the council databases. Council Secretary Vex confirmed this with a quick search of the legal records. The humans were right. Technically, they were following the law perfectly. The first colony ships launch in 30 days, Kyle announced. Representatives from interested species are welcome to observe the launch from Earth or from our monitoring stations. This is madness, whispered the Verdian representative, her leaves rustling with anxiety. A species cannot simply announce expansion on this scale. Kyle heard her and turned to address the entire chamber. 300 years ago, this council welcomed humanity as its newest members. You taught us about galactic law, galactic politics, and galactic limitations. We learned everything you taught us. He paused, looking around the chamber at the faces and face equivalents of representatives from across the galaxy. But we never stopped being human, and humans don't accept limitations. The chamber fell silent again, but this time it was a different kind of silence. It was a silence of 46 species realizing that the small, primitive world they had welcomed into their council 3 centuries ago was no longer small or primitive. It was a silence of understanding that everything was about to change. The emergency recess lasted only 30 minutes, but in those 30 minutes, the most powerful beings in the galaxy held frantic private meetings in soundproof chambers throughout the council station. Threx paced back and forth in the Dominion private meeting room, his claws scraping against the metal floor. General Vrex stood beside him, along with representatives from 6 other military-focused species. This cannot be real, Threx growled. Humans were building rockets with chemical fuel just 300 years ago. They couldn't even reach their own moon without help. The technical specifications they showed looked legitimate. Admiral Kess of the Rigid Arm Confederation said quietly. Her species had been studying human technology for decades, hoping to learn something useful. The mathematics were correct, even if the approach was completely different from anything we've seen. Different how? Vrex demanded. They're not manipulating gravity or bending space-time through energy fields like we do, Kess explained. According to their data, they're somehow convincing space itself to fold around their ships. In another chamber, the Scientific Council was having a similar discussion. The Arcturian Federation's top scientists were reviewing the technical data the humans had provided, and none of it made sense according to established physics. Ambassadors then studied the holographic equations floating in front of him. This is impossible. The energy requirements alone will consume an entire star. That's what I thought, too, said Dr. Lyra of the Crystal Collective, her crystalline body shimmering as she processed the data. But look at their power source specifications. They're not using energy at all, not in any way we understand it. When the session resumed, Kyle found himself standing before a very different audience. The casual boredom was gone, replaced by intense attention and barely hidden fear. Council Secretary Vex spoke first. The Council requests a detailed technical presentation regarding humanity's claimed faster-than-light capabilities. Of course, Kyle said. He gestured to Dr. Emma Carter, who stepped forward to the presentation area. Emma activated the holographic display system and began showing complex mathematical equations. The problem with faster-than-light travel has always been energy, she said simply. Every species that achieved it had to build bigger and bigger power sources. Fusion reactors, antimatter containment, zero-point energy collectors. The alien scientists in the chamber nodded. This was exactly how their own species had approached the problem. Humans took a different approach. Emma continued. We asked a different question. Instead of, how do we power a ship to move faster than light? We asked, how do we make light move slower than our ship? Dr. Lyra made a sound like wind chimes in confusion. Light speed is a universal constant. It cannot be changed. Emma smiled. Light speed is constant within normal space-time. But what if space-time itself isn't normal anymore? She manipulated the equations, showing how the human drive system worked. Instead of pushing a ship through space, it created what she called a stubbornness field around the vessel. We discovered that human willpower is actually a measurable force, Emma explained. When humans really truly refuse to accept that something is impossible, reality itself becomes slightly less certain about what's actually impossible. The chamber was completely quiet now. Even the constant background hum of the station's systems seemed muted. Commander Jake Thompson, the chief engineer of the Colonial Fleet, stepped forward. Our engines don't move the ship through space. They convince space that the ship is already where it wants to be. It's the most human thing we've ever built. This is ridiculous, Zen announced. Willpower is not a physical force. Determination cannot affect the laws of physics. Says who? Jake asked. Your species spent 2,000 years building bigger engines and more powerful reactors. Has anyone ever tried, just really wanted to be somewhere else? Dr. Emma pulled up another display showing the test flights. We tested this theory by taking volunteers who had strong emotional reasons to travel to specific locations. A mother trying to reach her daughter. A man trying to get home to his dying father. A scientist desperate to study a rare stellar phenomenon. The stronger their need to be somewhere else, the faster the ship traveled, Jake added. We've measured speeds of up to 300 times light speed when the pilot really needed to be somewhere. General Vrex made a disgusted clicking sound. You're claiming that human emotions power your starships. Not emotions, Emma corrected. Human stubbornness. The absolute refusal to accept that distance can keep you from where you need to be. Captain Lisa Grant activated another display. Our colonial ships are crewed by families. Parents who refuse to let distance separate them from their children. Children who won't accept that they can't see their grandparents. Scientists who absolutely will not give up on their research. Each ship runs on a combined determination of 10,000 humans who refuse to be stopped by physics, Kyle added. Ambassadors then studied the data carefully. The Arcturians were the most advanced scientific species in the Council, and their technology was based on centuries of careful research and mathematical precision. This shouldn't work, he said finally. It doesn't, Emma agreed cheerfully. According to every law of physics we know, our ships should be impossible. But humans have never been very good at accepting what should and shouldn't be possible. Dr. Nina Brooks, who had been serving as Earth's cultural liaison on various council worlds, stepped forward from the human delegation. Every species in this council has a story about the moment they accepted their limitations. The moment they said, this is as far as we can go, or this is as fast as we can travel, or this is as much as we can achieve. She looked around the chamber at the representatives from 46 different worlds. Humans have never had that moment. Every time someone tells us we can't do something, we take it as a challenge. For 300 years, you've been telling us that faster-than-light travel was impossible for primitive species like us. Kyle smiled. Thank you for the motivation. The implications were sinking in around the chamber. If humans could really travel this fast, they could reach any council world within weeks. If their technology really ran on determination rather than conventional energy, then all the military calculations that kept the galactic peace were suddenly meaningless. How many ships can you build? Threx asked quietly. As many as we need, Lisa replied, as long as we have humans who refuse to stay where they're told to stay. And how many humans are willing to refuse? Rex demanded. Kyle looked around the chamber one more time. General, you've met humans before. How many of us do you think are willing to be told what we can't do? The silence that followed answered the question better than words ever could. Emma closed her presentation with a final slide showing the colonial fleet in formation. Our first wave launches in 27 days. We're not sharing the drive technology, but we're happy to demonstrate its capabilities for any council members who want to observe. As the human delegation returned to their seats, conversations broke out all over the chamber in dozens of languages. But one phrase was being translated and repeated in every language present. Everything has changed. The news spread across the galaxy faster than even human ships could travel. Within hours of the council session ending, every major world knew that humanity had somehow achieved impossible faster-than-light travel. On Zealothan Prime, the military capital of the Dominion worlds, General Rex stood in the center of the war room studying tactical displays. His greatest military minds surrounded him. All tried to understand what humanity's announcement meant for galactic security. "Show me their ship specifications again," Rex ordered. The holographic display showed the human colonial vessels. They were much smaller than traditional galactic warships, but if they could really travel at the speeds claimed, size might not matter. "They're not built like warships," observed Colonel Zek, Rex's chief tactical officer. "No heavy armor, no plasma cannons, no bioweapon pods." "Maybe they don't need traditional weapons," Rex replied grimly. "A ship that can appear anywhere in the galaxy within days doesn't need to fight fair." Defense Minister Kex raised a disturbing point. "Our entire military strategy is based on controlling key jump points and hyperspace lanes. If humans can fold space the way they claim, they can bypass all our defenses." The Zealothan military had spent thousands of years perfecting their bioship technology. Their vessels were living creatures, bred and trained for war, capable of devastating entire planets. But they were still limited by conventional faster-than-light travel, taking weeks or months to cross significant distances. "What do we know about human military capabilities?" Rex asked. "Very little," admitted Intelligence Chief Kex. "They've never participated in any galactic conflicts. Their only military actions have been small peacekeeping missions on their own world." "That we know of," Kex added darkly. "If they've been hiding this technology, what else might they be hiding?" Meanwhile, on Arcturus Station, the center of scientific research for the galaxy's most advanced species, a different kind of panic was setting in. Admiral Zen had called an emergency meeting of the Inner Rim Science Council. Dr. Lyra of the Crystal Collective projected her analysis of the human drive system. "I've run the calculations 17 times. Their system should not work. It violates at least 12 fundamental laws of physics. Yet their test data appears legitimate," said Professor Vort of the Mechanoid Assembly. His robotic form whirred quietly as he processed information at incredible speed. "Either they have achieved something truly impossible, or they have created the most sophisticated deception in galactic history." "Which is more likely?" asked Admiral Zen. The scientists looked at each other uncertainly. Deception on this scale would require fooling some of the most advanced minds in the galaxy. But technology that worked by refusing to accept physical laws was equally unbelievable. Dr. Hess of the Energy Being spoke, her voice coming from a containment field, since her species had no physical form. "Perhaps we're asking the wrong questions. Instead of how they did it, we should ask why they revealed it now." "What do you mean?" Zen asked. "If humans developed this technology 6 months ago, they could have begun expanding secretly. They could have established colonies without anyone knowing. Instead, they announced their plans publicly and demonstrated their capabilities to the entire council." Professor Vort's optical sensors flashed as he processed this. "They wanted us to know. This was not an accident or a mistake. This was a deliberate demonstration." From across the galaxy, everyone wanted to understand human psychology, human culture, human intentions. She sat in her office overlooking the construction sites where the colonial ships were being loaded with supplies and families. Her latest caller was Ambassador Trey of the Peaceful Worlds Alliance, a group of species that had formed specifically to avoid military conflicts. Dr. Brooks. Trey's translated voice sounded worried. We need to understand human intentions. This expansion you've announced, is it territorial conquest? Nina looked out her window at the families boarding the ships. Children carrying their favorite toys, parents packing memories of home, elderly people excited to see new worlds. Ambassador Trey, what do you see when you look at a human family? I'm not sure I understand the question. When humans decide to move somewhere new, we don't send soldiers first. We send families. We send people who want to build homes and plant gardens and raise their children somewhere better than where they were before. But your military capabilities are for protecting those families, Nina interrupted. Humans will fight when we have to, but we'd rather build something new than destroy something old. On the industrial world of Forge Prime, the Mechanoid Assembly was having their own crisis meeting. Their species had achieved perfection through logic and efficiency. Every system was optimized, every process refined to mathematical precision. Prime Unit Alpha addressed the assembly. Human technology operates on principles that contradict logical optimization. Their drive system works better when operated by beings who are emotionally invested in the outcome. This suggests that emotion and irrationality may be advantages rather than weaknesses. Unit Beta observed. Our calculations may need revision. Unit Gamma projected concerning data. If human expansion follows emotional rather than logical patterns, their actions will be unpredictable. We cannot model unpredictable behavior. But the most worried species were the ones that had built their entire civilizations around the idea that faster-than-light travel was nearly impossible. The Verdian Collective had spent thousands of years creating a peaceful society based on slow, careful expansion. Their garden worlds were carefully planned and took centuries to fully develop. Elder Root Wysa addressed the Verdian Council from her 1,000-year-old tree home. If humans can travel anywhere in the galaxy within days, our entire philosophy of patient growth becomes meaningless. Not meaningless, argued younger Root Fex. Different. Perhaps it's time we learn something new. Change is dangerous, Wysa replied. We have achieved harmony by accepting our limitations. What happens when limitations no longer exist? The question was being asked across the galaxy in different forms. On every world, in every government, the same disturbing thought was growing. If humans could ignore the physical laws that had shaped galactic civilization for thousands of years, what else might change? Some species began mobilizing their fleets, just in case. Others started diplomatic negotiations, trying to understand human culture and intentions. A few began looking at their own limitations and wondering if they, too, might be wrong about what was impossible. But in the halls of the Galactic Council Station, one conversation was taking place that would determine the fate of the entire galaxy. Threx stood in his private office, speaking to the holographic images of the most powerful military leaders from 12 different worlds. The humans must be contained, he said firmly. This technology of theirs threatens the stability of everything we've built. You're suggesting military action against a council member? Ask General Court of the Steel Worlds. I'm suggesting that some threats are too dangerous to ignore, Threx replied. If humans can travel anywhere, do anything, ignore any limitation, what happens to the rest of us? Admiral Kess of the Rigid Arm Confederation raised a concern. We don't actually know their military capabilities. They've never fought a real war. Then it's time they learn what war means, Threx said grimly, before they become too powerful to stop. The decision was made in that room, by beings who had lived their entire lives believing that some things were impossible and some limitations could never be overcome. They were about to learn how wrong they were. 24 days until the first human colony ships launched. 24 days to prevent everything from changing. The Dominion fleet was the largest military force assembled in 300 years. 60 bio ships, each one a living creature bred for war over thousands of years. Their organic hulls could heal from damage, their plasma weapons could melt continents, and their psychic coordination made them nearly unbeatable in traditional galactic warfare. General Vrex stood on the bridge of his flagship, the massive bio-cruiser Destroyer Worlds, as the fleet approached the edge of the Sol system. Around him, His officers monitored readings from their living sensors, watching for any sign of human military response. Sensors detect 37 human ships in the system, reported Tactical Officer Zek. All appeared to be the colonial vessels they demonstrated at the council. No warships. Rex asked. None that match any known military configurations, General. The largest human vessel appears to be a single ship near the fourth planet. Rex studied the tactical display. According to everything they knew about galactic warfare, this should be simple. 60 military vessels against less than 40 civilian ships. The humans would surrender immediately when faced with such overwhelming force. Open a communication channel to the human leadership, Rex ordered. The main display showed Admiral Zara Mitchell aboard the bridge of the ESV Defiance. She was a small woman by human standards, wearing a simple gray uniform with no decorations. Behind her, Rex could see a crew of maybe 20 humans working at various stations. This is Admiral Zara Mitchell of the Earth Defense Force, she said calmly. You are entering human sovereign space with a military fleet. State your intentions. Rex activated his own communications. I am General Rex of the Dominion Defense Corps. We carry an ultimatum from the Galactic Council. You will cease all expansion activities immediately and surrender your faster-than-light technology for Council evaluation or face the consequences. Admiral Mitchell was quiet for a moment, then smiled. It was not a friendly smile. General Rex, this is Admiral Mitchell. You have brought 60 warships into our home system and threatened our families. You have 10 minutes to reverse course and leave. This is your only warning. The bio-ship bridge erupted in clicking laughter from Rex's officers. One small human ship, giving an ultimatum to the greatest military fleet in galactic history. Admiral Mitchell, Rex replied, you have one ship. We have 60. Do the mathematics. I did, Mitchell said. You brought 60 ships to fight one enemy. That tells me you don't understand what you're dealing with. Rex cut the communication and turned to his weapons officer. Charge all plasma cannons. Target their single warship. When it's destroyed, the colonists will surrender. Plasma systems charging General, the weapons officer reported. All ships in the fleet are powering weapons. The bio-ships began to glow as their organic weapon systems came online. Plasma that burned hot enough to vaporize metal began building up in specialized organs throughout each vessel. Weapons charged and ready, General. Rex was about to give the order to fire when his sensor officer made a confused sound. General, we're detecting massive spatial distortions throughout the system. Distortions? Space is folding, sir. Everywhere. Then space around the Dominion fleet began to shimmer, and suddenly they were not alone. Thousands of small objects appeared around the bio-ships. At first, Rex thought they were missiles or drones, but as his sensors focused, he realized they were something much worse. They were humans. Thousands of individual humans in some kind of powered armor, each one carrying weapons that looked primitive but somehow felt dangerous. Impossible, Rex breathed. Humans cannot survive in open space. Our armor can... Came a new voice over the communication system. This is Commander Rick Murphy of the 1st Human Space Combat Division. General Rex, your fleet is surrounded. Rex looked at his tactical display in growing horror. Every one of his bio-ships was surrounded by hundreds of individual human soldiers floating in space. They weren't in ships. They were just there in the vacuum, somehow alive and armed. You cannot fight in space without ships, Rex announced. This is impossible. General, you keep using that word, Commander Murphy replied. Humans don't believe in impossible. We believe in improvisation. The human soldiers began moving, not like individual fighters, but like parts of a larger organism. They coordinated without visible communication, repositioning around each bio-ship with precision that rivaled the Dominion's psychic coordination. Sir, his weapons officer called out, we cannot target them effectively. They're too small, too fast, and there are too many of them. Fire anyway. Destroy them all. The bio-ships opened fire, their plasma weapons lighting up space with destructive energy. But the humans moved like they knew where every shot was going before it was fired. They flowed around the plasma bursts like water, never stopping their advance. How are they predicting our targeting? Tactical Officer Zek demanded. They're not predicting it. Admiral Mitchell's voice came over the communication system. They're just too stubborn to get hit by weapons that are supposed to kill them. Then the humans began firing back. Their weapons looked ancient by galactic standards. Kinetic projectiles instead of energy weapons, metal bullets instead of plasma or lasers. But these bullets traveled at significant fractions of light speed and hit with the force of small asteroids. The bio-ship's living hulls, designed to absorb energy weapons and heal from damage, had no defense against projectiles that simply punched through them at impossible speeds. Hull breach on decks 7 through 12, his damage control officer reported. The projectile went completely through the ship. That's not possible, Rex protested. Bio-ship hulls can stop anything. Not anymore. Commander Murphy's voice was calm, almost conversational. See, the thing about humans is that we don't fight fair. While your species were perfecting energy weapons and psychic coordination, we were perfecting the art of hitting things really, really hard. More bioships reported damage as the human soldiers continued their precise targeting. They weren't trying to destroy the ships completely. They were systematically disabling weapons, engines, and life support with surgical precision. Sir, his communications officer called out, we're receiving surrender demands from a human fleet. Surrender demands? From whom? Admiral Mitchell appeared on the main screen again. General Vrex, your ships are disabled and your crews are in danger. Surrender now, and we'll provide medical assistance and safe passage home. We have not been defeated, Vrex insisted. This is some kind of trick. General, his sensor officer called out quietly, 43 of our ships have lost main power. 17 have lost life support. Our weapon systems are operating at 12% capacity. Vrex looked around his bridge. Half his displays were dark, and he could hear the sounds of his bio-ship struggling to heal from wounds that kept getting bigger instead of smaller. How? He asked. Commander Murphy answered. You planned to fight ships, General. We didn't bring ships. We brought people. Every human out here volunteered for this mission because you threatened our families. Your tactics make no sense, Vrex protested. Individual soldiers cannot fight capital ships. Can't they? Murphy asked. General, you made the same mistake everyone makes about humans. You assumed we would fight the way you fight. You brought the biggest fleet in galactic history to intimidate us into surrendering. It should have worked. Maybe it would have worked on another species, Admiral Mitchell said. But humans don't back down when someone threatens our children. We get creative. The battle was over in 17 minutes. Not a single human was killed. Every Dominion ship was disabled but intact. Their crews rescued and treated by human medical teams that appeared just as suddenly as the soldiers had. As General Vrex was helped into a human medical pod, he asked a question that would haunt him for the rest of his life. How did you do this? The human medic treating him, a young woman named Dr. Beth Carter, smiled kindly. The same way we achieved faster-than-light travel, General. We refused to accept that it was impossible. The news reached the Galactic Council within hours. The greatest military fleet in 3 centuries had been defeated by humans who fought individually but fought collectively, who used primitive weapons with impossible effectiveness, and who treated their defeated enemies better than those enemies had ever been treated by their own commanders. Everything had changed again, and there were still 20 days until the first human colony ships launched. The emergency council session was different from any in galactic history. The Great Chamber, which had always buzzed with confident diplomatic chatter, was now filled with nervous silence. Representatives who had once considered themselves the masters of galactic civilization now sat quietly, waiting to learn what humanity wanted from them. The Dominion fleet had been returned intact to Zealothan Prime, along with detailed medical reports showing that their crews had received better treatment as prisoners than they had ever received from their own military command. General Vrex himself had submitted a report stating that human medical technology had healed injuries he had carried for decades. Kyle Martinez walked to the central podium, but this time no one seemed bored or dismissive. Every representative in the chamber watched him with complete attention. 3 weeks ago, we announced our expansion plans. Kyle began. Some of you decided this was a threat that needed to be stopped with military force. We've demonstrated that we cannot be stopped. He gestured to the holographic display, which showed the 17 star systems humanity had claimed. As of this morning, construction has begun on all 17 colonial settlements. Each colony is already home to 10,000 humans, with more arriving daily. Captain Lisa Grant stepped forward. Our colonial ships are reporting something interesting. We're not the only ones in these systems anymore. The display changed to show ships from over 20 different species arriving at human colonial sites. Arcturian science vessels, Verdian agricultural ships, mechanoid construction platforms, even a few Zealothan bio ships. It seems that once word spread about our expansion, other species decided they want to be part of it. Lisa continued. They're asking to join our colonies. Ambassador Threx shifted uncomfortably in his seat. What are your terms for these partnerships? Kyle smiled. The same terms we offer to all humans. Freedom to think what you want. Freedom to go where you want. Freedom to become whatever you're capable of becoming. Dr. Emma Carter activated another display showing technical specifications. We're sharing our medical technology with anyone who wants it. Our agricultural methods are available to any species that wants to grow better food. Our construction techniques are open to anyone who wants to build better homes. And your military technology? Asked Admiral Zen nervously. Our weapons are for protecting people, not conquering them. Admiral Czar Mitchell replied. Any species that threatens human colonies or our allies will face the same response General Vrex's fleet received. Commander Rick Murphy stepped forward. But any species that wants to work with us, learn from us, or teach us something new is welcome in our colonies. Dr. Nina Brooks, who had been studying the cultural impact of human expansion, presented her findings. 23 species have requested permission to establish permanent research stations in human colonies. 14 species have asked us to help them develop their own faster-than-light technology. 37 species have requested cultural exchange programs. And how are you responding to these requests? Asked Council Secretary Vex. We're saying yes to all of them, Kyle replied simply. The universe is big enough for everyone to find something new. The chamber erupted in surprise conversations. The idea that a powerful species would freely share advanced technology was almost unheard of in galactic history. Ambassador then raised his hand for recognition. Humanity's actions are unprecedented. Most species guard their technological advantages carefully. Most species stop growing, Emma replied. Humans don't. We get better by making everyone around us better too. Jake Thompson activated a presentation showing human engineering projects. We're building something we call possibility engines in each colony. Machines designed to help other species figure out how to do things they've been told are impossible. How does that work? Asked Dr. Lyra of the Crystal Collective. Simple, Jake said. We put different species together with human engineers and asked them what they've always wanted to do, but couldn't. Then we helped them figure out how to do it anyway. The results were already impressive. Verdian plants that could grow in space, mechanoid robots that could feel emotions, Arcturian energy manipulators that worked at impossible efficiency levels. You're teaching other species to ignore physical limitations, Threx observed. We're teaching them to question assumptions, Nina corrected. Every species in this council has things they believe are impossible. Humans are very good at proving impossible things wrong. Kyle addressed the chamber directly. 6 months ago, faster-than-light travel was impossible for humans. 3 months ago, individual soldiers fighting capital ships was impossible. Last week, healing injuries that had lasted for decades was impossible. He looked around at the representatives from 46 different worlds. What impossible thing does your species want to accomplish? The question hung in the air like a challenge. For centuries, galactic civilization had been stable because every species knew their limits. Now, humans were suggesting that limits were just suggestions. Elder Root Wysa of the Verdian Collective spoke first. My people have always believed that our garden worlds must be built slowly, over centuries of careful growth. What if they didn't have to be? Emma asked, What if we could help you grow a complete garden world in months instead of centuries? That would change everything about how we live, Weiser replied. Would that be good or bad? Kyle asked. The old tree being was quiet for a long moment. I don't know, but I think I would like to find out. One by one, other representatives began speaking up. The mechanoids wanted to know if they could develop creativity alongside their logic. The Crystal Collective wondered if they could learn to change and adapt instead of remaining fixed. The energy beings asked if they could experience physical sensation. Here's what we're proposing, Kyle said when the questions died down. A new kind of galactic civilization. Instead of everyone staying in their assigned roles and accepting their limitations, we work together to help each other become more than we ever thought possible. Admiral Mitchell stood up. Any species that wants to remain as they are is welcome to do so. We won't force change on anyone. But any species that wants to grow, to become something new, to accomplish impossible things, we want to help. The vote was unlike any in Council history. Instead of complex negotiations and careful political calculations, it was simple. All in favor of humanity's proposal for unlimited partnership? Secretary Vex asked. 45 hands, claws, appendages, and energy fields rose in agreement. Only the Dominion worlds abstained. Threx stood slowly. The Dominion cannot support a policy of ignoring established limitations and natural order. That's your choice, Kyle replied without anger. But the invitation remains open. When you're ready to discover what the Dominion worlds could become instead of what they've always been, we'll be here. 6 months later, the Galactic Council relocated to New Harmony Station in the Kepler Nebula. The station was built using combined human, Arcturian, and mechanoid technology, capable of housing representatives from any known species, and several that had never been contacted before. The first graduating class from a Human Alien Engineering Academy included 47 species working on projects that would have been considered impossible a year earlier. Zealothan bioships that could heal other vessels, Verdian plants that could grow in pure energy, mechanoid robots that could compose poetry. Dr. Nina Brooks, now serving as Director of Impossible Studies of the Academy, kept a simple sign on her office door. What can't you do today? Students from across the galaxy would stop by her office to answer that question, then work with human engineers to prove their answer wrong. Kyle Martinez, now serving as humanity's first galactic ambassador for unlimited potential, ended his first annual report to Earth with a simple observation. 300 years ago, the galaxy welcomed humanity as junior partners who would learn to know our place. Today, we're helping 46 species discover that they never had to stay in their place either. The age of limitations is over. The age of possibility has begun. And we're just getting started. Applications for human colony partnerships had been received from 63 species, including 12 that had never been contacted by the Galactic Council before. The waiting list for classes at the Academy of Impossible Studies was 3 years long. General Vrex, now serving as the first non-human graduate of the Human Military Strategy School, submitted his final thesis on tactical advantages of refusing to accept defeat. His conclusion was simple. Humans win because they don't know when to quit. Perhaps it's time the rest of us learn that lesson. The galaxy was becoming a very different place. A place where impossible things happened every day, where species that had been static for millennia were suddenly growing and changing, where the only limitation was how much you were willing to dream. It was becoming a more human place. And in the deep space beyond the galactic rim, long-range human scouts were already preparing for the next impossible thing. Contact with galaxies beyond their own. Because humans, it turned out, didn't believe in final frontiers either.